for me, I'm curious of how, because I haven't really asked like the salsa bachata artists about Zouk. The most because Elijah's in Phoenix, but the are we rolling right?
Yeah, we're rolling, but
we'll make an intro later.
Yeah,
I want to like kind of
flows.
Yeah, flows.
I think we'll edit it.
We'll just edit and make you guys feel comfortable first. But yeah, Elijah's from Phoenix, and I wonder the most enthusiasm I see about Zouk is from my friends who social dance, maybe salsa bachata, and they tried out Zouk and they fell in love with it. And I think that's where, like you said, I think social dancing kind of is very important in the sense that you have people who cross-train in different styles, but they're not that comfortable dancing because maybe they just started.
Yes.
So the downside to maybe having these mixed genre events is the socials, they don't really reflect like the workshops. People will take the workshops a lot, but unless it's a Zouk-only Congress or something, then like the I see the socials, they look amazing.
Yeah, or if it's a scene that it's a super strong scene. For example, Miami, there is a Miami Fusion Festival there, and like Miami is a bigger scene for Zouk than Denver right now. So when you do an event in Miami, it's easier to have a lot of Zoukeiros that are also bachateros, so they go to that event, that's a fusion event, and they will go to the Zouk room. So there are actual more people in the Zouk room for socials at that event, even being a mixed one, than some others. When you go to an event in a city that doesn't have a strong Zouk community yet as far as numbers, then it's making it a little bit harder to reflect on the social because of that reason.
Right. Okay. Cool. We're good?
Yeah. So,
yeah. You want to start with intros?
Yeah, we'll just start with intros. So
where is it?
I think it's...
This will probably be episode 13 of our podcast.
Yeah, we have a podcast and we're just kind of like trying to like record as many people and just we also want to get like both like not just we come from like I come from bachata and salsa, and Zouk and Kiz is kind of like a fourth world, and like and I think I just want to get to know more of them, and I think these interviews kind of help to that. So
where are you from, like originally in the family?
My family's from Mexico. Both my parents are from Mexico.
So you were born here?
Yeah, I was born here. Yeah, so it's sorry, let me make that sure and then we'll get into this. Sorry. So welcome guys to the new podcast, and then today we have Gustavo and Ayane.
Ayane.
Yes. Okay, Ayane, and they are from Miami, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't know too much about you guys, so I will let you guys introduce yourselves. This is Will and Antonio today, and yeah, go ahead and introduce yourselves. What are you guys about? Where are you guys located? And what is it about Zouk that you guys are captivated?
So, you go first.
All right, ladies first over it.
Well, hi, Ayane. Hi. I live in Miami now.
Mm-hmm.
I moved to the U.S. 7 years ago from Brazil originally, Rio de Janeiro. And now I'm living in Miami. I moved there in December. So basically after about 2 years visiting the city, many things in life had happened and I ended up moving. So that's the short version of the story.
Yeah, well, my name is Gustavo. I'm also originally from Brazil, from Rio, and I moved about 6.5 years ago to the U.S. Was living in Tennessee originally, in Nashville, and then I moved to Miami 2.5 years ago. I've been dancing Brazilian dances, not only Zouk, but also samba de gafieira, forró, Brazilian bolero, some Argentine tangos, some salsa, from a long time, like I would say a little bit over 20 years. And yeah, I love teaching, love traveling, and now partnering with Ayane would mean sharing that universe.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah. Do you want to start first?
Yeah, let's just start with something easy. So, what is Zouk and where did it originate? That'd be for our viewers.
Perfect.
Oh, sorry. I guess I'm going to be doing the opening. So, Brazilian Zouk is a dance, right? Like that. Now we came to this name Brazilian Zouk because to characterize the dance in itself, the musical style came from the Caribbean. So we kind of borrowed that name and started dancing to that music. So there's a longer story that Gustavo was older he can tell you all about. But right now, Brazilian Zouk is a Brazilian dance. It came from lambada and it was influenced by many other Brazilian dances as well. So from the north, some folklorical, some cultural, like, local dances that we had, plus influences from, the French islands. And I mean, there's a big mix in the story there. But yeah, so like if we travel back in the timeline, back in the 1990s, 80s, when Gustavo was already like, already teaching dance, so that's why. Then he can tell you about
it's basically what Ayane said, but just to add few points on that. In the north part of Brazil, they could capture the waves from the radio on the Caribbean. So they started listening to that type of music. And as the lambada was going out of trend, they start trying to dance lambada to that music, which is a little bit slower music. To go to original Zouk music, is a little bit slower with like a little bit more flowy than the lambada that was like sharper and faster. And
sorry, just I'm gonna be poking at you, but how does lambada look like? What if you had to describe it? Like how what is lambada? Because I know like to you guys you say lambada or like different. You guys punch in a bunch of names, and sometimes I personally don't know. So what exactly is lambada then?
Yeah. Lambada is a Brazilian dance made to a Brazilian type of music, and it was super popular back in the 80s. Like my sister, my mom, they used to dance that a lot. And like everyone, like on TV shows, like opening up soap operas in Brazil, they have like that dance. And it's they had like the little skirts on that. There's a song that everyone knows that's like the...
Oh, I know the song.
Exactly.
Yeah, so wow, really?
You gotta get off the podcast.
I know, but
it's basically like a very high energy and a lot of hip motions. Like it tends to be a little sensual, but very fast, very explosive. Exactly. And it was a street dance. So like everybody knew, everybody would go to clubs back in Brazil, like our older generation, our parents, they would go out and that was like playing in all the clubs. So it was like that hype, like very fast with a lot of hips, with a lot of, close embrace, like dancing very close to that type of Brazilian specific music. And at some point, I guess people weren't being able to keep up. Yeah. And that music started to like kind of fade away in some places, like in São Paulo, for example, that they were a little more conservative. They started to like push back the dance. They were like, no, this is a little too much for us. We're like a little higher class for this dance that's a little too sensual, because also who used to dance a lot, those, were like some people like from the pescadores, how do we say that? Fishermen. Yeah, the fishermen, like, some people that were just like normal people, like not necessarily high class people. So it was a very informal type of dance. And as it started spreading, it got some blocked from, a little bit of fancier, or higher culture cities. So then it started getting blocked here, blocked there, and people weren't playing as much on the radios, it started fading away. So they were like, okay, with that connection, the transmission of the radio capturing the music coming from the islands, and they were like, oh, we can maybe start dancing to this. And, naturally started evolving from that super fast-paced dance, adapting to that kind of slower music. Right. Then eventually started getting to the schools. Yeah, and then when we went to the southeast of Brazil, like Rio and São Paulo, they start getting like their own vibes for that. So a lot of different styles of Zouk started from there. Like São Paulo is more urban city compared to the US. It's more like New York. And Rio is more like Miami, like there's a beach, like more tropical and stuff, chill. So a different type of culture as well. So because of that, in São Paulo, they developed a lot more urban style of Zouk. So a lot of hip hop, a different, style, like adding moves from that background, because people there had that background. Mm-hmm. And in Rio, they had other styles. They had what are called traditional Zouk. Some people called Rio Zouk because of that, like from Rio. And then it started adding like flow or other style, like getting other type of music. And nowadays, if you go to Zouk Social, you play little of traditional Zouk songs from back in time that was sang in Creole. That's a mix of French and some dialects. Nowadays, you listen to a lot of songs that are Kizomba or get some pop music, get versions of music, because there are some DJs that getting involved with the Zouk scene, and then they start building and creating content for Zouk. So DJ Kaká, for example, is super famous, and she's producing a lot of songs for Zouk.
Yeah,
does the R? I'm guessing that's when like R&B kind of like goes into.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you think Zouk, from what I'm hearing, right? So then it seems like Zouk is like it develops a lot quicker than most dances, right? Because I know like bachata kind of has similar stuff, like where it's like, but like the music, it's still the same, you know. It's not it's not like getting influence from. I guess it does have a little bit of influence, but I feel like it seems like Zouk just grabs anywhere.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, we couldn't really. I guess now we can't really say that we dance to Zouk music.
Yeah.
Right. So Zouk, it continued to be the dance, Brazilian Zouk specifically, but now we can dance to a variety of styles. So we borrowed like pop music, R&B music, classic, some jazz variations. People just really get creative in that aspect. And for that reason in itself, the dance continues to change as well, you know. So originally Zouk had a little bit of a, you know, like a up and down, flowy movement. Then, especially in Rio, then it kind of got more grounded, you know, like a little sharp. So yeah, there is a little, there were lots of changes that happened to the dance because the music was always changing around.
Yeah. All right. That's so cool. So it's changing a lot, like even currently.
Yeah, it continues to change.
And what, on my perspective, like becoming like international helped also making everyone talk more, because you had like the people from São Paulo doing one style, people from Rio doing a different style, people from another place, and then when they start traveling, they go to the same place for the same events and start like, oh, someone teach me something, and the next month I have another instructor from another place that teaches me the opposite of what the other one was teaching. So they start blending more, and everyone learning a little bit from each other. So now most of the big names on the Zouk scene, they try to learn, I want to learn a little bit of lambada, I want to learn a little bit of R&B, urban Zouk, or I want to learn a little bit of Zouk flow or traditional Zouk. So everyone can communicate better because of that.
Sorry, just a bunch of questions that just come in. So where does I believe it's Tarasho or how do you
Tarasho, yeah.
Tarasho?
Yeah.
Tarasho.
Where does that come into play then?
This is Kizomba. It's on the Kizomba style.
Oh, yeah. See, this is how I'm gonna get fucking slapped. Oh my god, dude.
Like, so there is room for that confusion because we are cousins. Let's say, you know,
that's
Zouk and Kizomba in itself, they speak a little bit. It like we cannot say it's the same thing, but we tend to be found like in similar places, right? So very often you will see, I guess tomorrow actually here at the event, the social room will be together like for Zouk and Kizomba. So the music that they use for Kizomba it communicates to Zouk as well, you know. So there is a common point of where the same music can be played for either Zouk or Kizomba, but also there is a point in which it goes like only to the Kizomba line, and then it's like too much for Zouk, and also it go too far on the Zouk side, not necessarily Zouk music because we don't have it, but let's say we put something more lyrical, and then Kizomba dancers, they won't, you know, follow that vibe. So there is a common point in where we meet, and then Kizomba and Zouk dancers, they're like, okay, we both can dance to this, but then there is a point in where we split. So,
and there I'll actually leave a question for the JKK if she ever watched this. You can respond to the comments maybe. It's like because Kaka is creating music for Brazilian Zouk. So should we consider the music that Kaka creates Brazilian Zouk music? So then we're starting creating a new genre of music because we have like people creating music for that purpose. That's a good question.
I see what you're saying, right? So it's like now because originally you would say that the conception of like Zouk, right, would be when like the transmission of the fishermen. You think that's the conception of them, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So then from there it starts developing. But then because you guys have pushed it so far, it's no longer Zouk per se, right?
Yeah.
So
that's
then
not more the reference.
So then when you say like somebody asks you like what are you dancing, right? Or do you say Brazilian Zouk?
Yes. Because also like if you go to those countries on the islands where they have the music coming from the original Zouk singing Creole, they have their own way of dancing that's more similar to Kizomba than to what Brazilian Zouk is, because Brazilian Zouk as a dance came from lambada. So when it started becoming international, that's why we add the Brazilian to the name, because when I start learning in Brazil, we just call that Zouk.
Zouk, right.
We didn't call Brazilian Zouk, it was Zouk.
in Creole they call it Zouk too. Like
Yeah.
They do.
oh, okay, so that's why it's even more
So
confusing.
and then when we went, the dance became international, and then people that were from those countries and they dance Zouk the way they dance on their country, they were like,
What the hell, man?
Yeah. This is what I said. You know, and then call that Zouk since we have been doing Zouk for a long time, and that's like okay.
Do you think that if in that moment, right? Well, I guess maybe they wouldn't have thought about it, but if in that moment of conception, right, they would have chosen a different name, it would have been better, or do you think it would have been worse because it's like now it seems like you guys are stealing the music?
Yeah, that's what some people feel like from those countries, but like, oh, you're stealing the name, that's not your culture. But I think now that we show in Change to Brazilian Zouk name, that it's more like making a reference and talking about something that's, some people might not even know that exists. And like we helping each other, and they are starting to see that there's like actually good intention and like, we're growing, so we're also pushing them a little bit in that sense.
I mean, sorry, but even the fact that you mentioned them, like right now, it's adding to the fact that it's like you're honoring, like, yo, like this is where it come from. Like, we know that it's not ours, but we're using it. And this is where we're at. That's dope. That's cool. Sorry. Sorry, I was like, yo, that's crazy. Like the foundation of like of your guys' dancing, right? It's like it's built on like just some random fisherman that was like, this beat is going hard right now. That's so cool.
Because it's such a young dance too, right? Like it's very recent. So I mean, it has changed a lot in the last 30 years, and I mean, you can only imagine how much more it will continue to change.
Like we dance among the people who created the dance. Like
they're still alive.
People that created the Brazilian Zouk dance, because it's not that long ago, like in the 80s, 90s. Like people are still alive dancing.
People who dance like more like traditional from the roots, like how do they see the whole scene internationally? What are their opinions on that?
I mean, it's interesting because at the end of the day, I think the same way that people from Zouk look to Brazilian Zouk, the people from traditional Brazilian Zouk also look to the newer styles of Brazilian Zouk. Like they sometimes have, a little bit of question if that's good or not. But especially now that everyone, especially the big names, are working so much on getting together and learning and keeping the roots there, I think that brought more respect to the new style, because everyone is learning and respecting where it came from and teaching foundations and basics and understanding what is the way it came from. And if I want to style, if I want to create something new, yes, but it's from here, so making that reference for them and like learning and doing that mixing. Big names nowadays, when they do demos on festivals, they try to, I like more lyrical music, but every here and then they will dance to more traditional song to show that, hey, even the people who dance more lyrical songs, they also dance traditionalism.
And we spoke earlier where the cameras were rolling about how, about mixed events. And I was curious personally about how you felt about, typically attaching to mixed events. The most popular genres of dance is obviously salsa, bachata, and the Latin scene. How do you feel just attaching Zouk and maybe Kizomba to the side? It's because it's such a much smaller community. Do you feel like you're kind of maybe left out or not as represented versus a typical, like a full-on Zouk Congress or something, let's say?
Yeah, no, I think there's room for everything. Ayane, if you want to talk a little bit about this.
Yeah, no, I think it's great, to be honest. Like, when I started dancing Zouk, we would always like just go to a bar or some restaurant, and if there was some sort of music playing, then we would just get up, just get up and start Zouk bombing the place, So, but I feel like every time we have the opportunity of getting more exposure, that's best, that's better, because in an event like this, for example, today our class was full of first time Zouk class people.
Me included.
That's exactly. So it's like we wouldn't have had that opportunity if it wasn't for a mixed gender event, right? So, and then maybe on that one time, like you were like, ooh, this is actually interesting.
Yeah.
So maybe let me look around in my local scene, see if I can find that, right? So with the mixed gender events, we are able to bring more people, into the Zouk scene. I feel like is very positive.
Yeah.
It has happened in the past, the kind of feeling of like being left out a little bit on the corner, on the tiny room with like the not so good sound system. But I feel like most events are looking at that and getting better. Like, yeah.
I know, there's another podcast that talks about, it's just like all Zouk people and Kiz people, the Dance No. Yeah, I guess we'll shout them out. The Dance No Cap podcast. I don't know if you guys. Yeah. So like I listened to it just to kind of like just to kind of like get like, I'm like, because I don't know anything about like Zouk and Kiz, and I just want to like, I'm just trying to like soak up information. I just like to consume it. Like right now, like you guys telling me about this, like I find it super fucking crazy. but it's but crap, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, no, that there's like it's just these little details that kind of sometimes get overlooked by our organizers. Is such a big thing where it's like, everybody should be able, maybe like, like obviously, if we're gonna be honest about it, right? Salsa's gonna bring in a shit ton of more people. It's just a fact. And obviously Zouk isn't gonna do it as much, but I mean, just because of that doesn't mean that, right now, for example, you guys had an issue about you guys didn't have any space at all in your guys' workshop, and it's like, even me personally, I was like, yo, this is annoying. Like I can't even like do what you guys are trying to do. So I think it's really one of those things that organizers should really consider, because especially Zouk is I feel like it's a very open what do you call it?
Yeah, it takes up space.
Yeah, so it's like it's kind of like stupid. It's like, as an organizer, it's like, if you know this event or this dance is open, then why would you give them a small room with a small floor? So I think it's one of those things that it should be probably more, definitely being looked into, because it's why are we doing that?
Yeah, I have a more like positive way of looking at things, and I think like when we're given like a small room, and even though we have like a ton amount of people going there, and like we're showing that, hey, we actually need a bigger space. And on the other hand, also when we brought some difficulties for our class, it's opportunity for us as instructors to grow as well on learning how to deal with that situation and be able to, hey, how can I make that class feasible in that space with that amount of people, with that amount of extra followers? How can we organize it in the short amount of time we have to be able to make it work? So for us, a growing experience, a learning experience as well. So I understand that perspective. Like I want everything to be perfect, but life is not perfect. So we can always try to like show that, hey, we brought too much value here that I think that now we earned that. So I like the feeling of I earned this versus if I get the gigantic ballroom and get there and like there's this amount of people taking the class, it's sad, So if you get a small room and have a lot of people, it's like, oh my gosh, so tight. It's Brazil. Let's go, Yeah. So it's that vibe, and then you get more space and get more people and get more artists being hired. It builds that.
And just like adding on that, I feel like that's a reflection of where Brazilian Zouk is going as a dance, because each time more people are getting curious about it, more people are trying to get into classes, and they want to see it closer, and they want to see how how it looks, how it feels. Because especially like recently, there were a few people complaining about bachata, right? How some bachata leads were a little bit rough. So there was like a little, venting about that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were comparing, because Zouk leads aren't like that. And I guess it brought a lot of curiosity too. And last year we both were teaching here, so we had the small room, and we didn't have as many people, as this time. So this time is like, we see that there was an actual growth. So there is a reason. There is like, that we can tell them, hey, we couldn't fit everybody in the room. So next year we do need to have a bigger roundup, because now the scene is growing, and the curiosity is increasing, and people do want to be in the classes. And the more people in the classes, the more our social can grow as well, because they will be, more confident, and like they will want to experiment. So I feel like that's a nice reflection, to be honest, based on everything that has been happening through the year. So having all the people there was a great turnout. It's very positive. So it makes sense that, we continue to grow, and next year, probably, hopefully, we're going to have a bigger one too.
Better people than I am. No, fuck this. I don't have space, goddamn it. No, but
he's a very demanding.
Which is good. They need people like you, as make the balance.
Right. No, yeah, but it's cool. I liked it. It was fun. You guys' workshop was really cool. Like, I know he took your guys' yesterday.
I was there yesterday.
Yeah.
And I got to meet the instructor after your class, Paulo.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I was going to ask, so what are the big congresses or just the local scenes? You said Miami is a big one.
Yeah, if you think about local scene, it's different than congresses because think about Zouk only events. I would say the main one is Elevation here in Denver. At the end of the year, like they have normally 700 people, 600 people doing Zouk only. So it's awesome event. I'll be there at the end this year.
Yeah.
Briefly. But also like there are some great ones like think about New York Zouk Festival is a good event, it's a big event. There is like in DC Zouk Heat, Baltimore area, it's a big event. In Canada Zouk Congress is an event a lot of people fly from the US and from Europe as well, because I think it's a little bit easier also to get people from Brazil that don't come to the US, they go to Canada.
It's just as big as like Elevation, so it's a great event, but it's Zouk only and people go, and it's a lot of people.
And on the mixed ones that have Zouk, I would say SBK, San Francisco is huge. We also go to be there this year. The main one on the Zouk part right now are the Miami Dance Fusion and the SBK. They're like a lot of people.
But local scenes then, that it changes, it varies because it depends really on like who's in the scene, who's growing, who's, teaching regularly. So I'm not gonna lie, Miami is really good right now as far as like people who live there, and who are present in all the classes regularly. Paula and Luisa moved there a few years ago and they have been doing like a great job. And Gustavo moved, and where then Ayane moved, and then I moved. But we also have George and Annabella who were there. So
Leandro and Nayara.
Leandro and Nayara just moved. So Binho and Larissa, they were there. So it was a lot of good instruction, in the scene, and a lot of people who were there being curious and, coming out, attending the classes. So that's definitely one of the biggest places for Zouk, like locally now. DC, I would say, is
New York,
probably.
Yeah, see, there are some cities that like they have that, and there's some growing one. Like I heard amazing things about the local city Phoenix. Like the Elijah and Dini work there has been like growing a lot, and I had instructors that were doing tour, and they went there to Phoenix, and they comment to me. I was impressed about the Zouk scene in Phoenix. So I sometimes I watch on Instagram and I see like those open class videos, like 80 people taking a class, like, wow, that's incredible, amazing. So,
yeah. I think that it's cool, like, how social media has helped, like, the dancing, especially because, like, you get to see, like, oh, like, New York is doing this, oh, Phoenix is doing this, oh, LA is doing this, Denver. And it's really cool just to see how all of them kind of, like, you see that and it's like, oh, shit, like, I can get there then. Like, if you started with 30 people, and it's like, oh, you can see, like, oh, like, this is possible, it kind of, like, says confirm.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, you get the word.
Yeah. It's not my first language.
He's like, what did reaffirm? That's dope.
No, but it's very true. Like, social media did help spreading a lot and making it more, well-known.
Possible.
More accessible, right. Yeah. So it does help. It has, ups and downs, goods and bads, but...
And I see a lot of things starting, like, for example, Dallas now is growing a lot of people that are living there. They have a nice festival there. So, there are a lot of things that are popping up and, like, going from, like, not having anything to, like, being, like, a very nice scene, like, in 1 year, 2 years, So
right, yeah.
It's awesome.
It's like this quality dancers.
And then, I don't know how it's like in Brazil, but I'm curious, what do you think helps, like, maybe grow a scene? And I know some scenes kind of die out too. What do you think helps sustain, like, a local scene so it doesn't just, let's say a big artist moves and that'd be a big impact on the scene, right? And I don't know if that's like that for Zouk, but I know in the salsa bachata scene that does create an impact to some level. Yeah. And you told me recently you started competing relatively recently, and I thought about it myself that, okay, like, if you're really good or passionate about a dance and let's say you don't have the desire to, I think it does give, I hate to say it, but if you do compete and let's say you win a competition, that kind of gives the validation for the art to some degree, because some people just see, like, if you just see a really good dancer on Instagram, most people just say, oh, they're just really good. But You show that to a friend and you're like, this person's famous, or this person like won all these competitions, and it kind of, I hate to say that, the perceived perception of credibility kind of adds to, how serious the scene can be. So
I think scene-wise is driven a lot by someone being passionate about the dance,
right?
Because a lot of scenes they are able to work much better than a scene that has like a great instructor if they have someone that they take the lead, and like that person is in love with that, so want to spread out and do all the backstage work of like advertising, making sure that things are running smoothly, having social, having class, inviting guest instructors to be there. Sometimes there are scenes that they don't have a big instructor there, but they have instructors coming to do workshops, but also being like residents for like 2-3 months. Now they're teaching like a group of series of classes during those 2-3 months, while they touring during the weekends for other cities. So that also helps, bringing it up. And if you have someone that's in love and like get the people together, because bonding is very important. Like Elena's scene, for example, was really good because of that, because of how much they were together all the time and doing not just dance-related things, but let's go to the movie together. Let's like have a house party and like a cookout, whatever. So they create that interaction and become what we call in Zouk, like we call like familia, like a family.
Yeah.
And we create that family vibe. That's for me is the most. And we like go to big events together as a group.
Yeah.
And as a group, sometimes also get discount codes to be able to get cheaper there because have like
totally not
a lot of
advertising
people.
or anything.
Yeah.
So that's for sure like something that I have experienced myself, right? So I was living in Atlanta for a long time, and I saw like some big changes there because when I first moved, there was this one school, per se, that was really big, and then whenever they closed during the pandemic, another school popped up. So there was a variety of things happening, but I feel like the thing that stood out the most was how connected people still were, like independent of whoever was teaching, where they were teaching. The institution in itself, they collaborate, they communicate with each other really well. Now everything is running. There's like 3 schools in Atlanta. But the students, they get that benefit and they have that feeling of like staying together, staying strong. So there is always house parties. There is always a little something, like a little getaway or, just something that you do together, not necessarily on dance related, but also dance related. So they go to all the classes, they have all these opportunities, and the instructors there, they make sure that they can bring guest people, guest instructors to the scene to bring more knowledge, because sometimes there is only so much that you as a local instructor can do because there is a big change, there is always people coming in and out. So sometimes I feel like you're advancing as far as the technique, the quality, the level of the scene. But then some people move out. We had a lot of that happening in Atlanta. Some of the best dancers we had, they moved to other different places. And then new people come in. So then, the instructors got to back out a little bit. But then you bring workshops, and events and weekenders and festivals. And people are like, they continue to get more engaged and they get to learn more content, and everybody grows, the teachers, the dancers, the newbies, the zucchinis. So shout out to Atlanta.
I like that.
Yes.
So it's similar in the sense where I've asked this before to other instructors or even artists. One of them mentioned mainly collaboration is a big thing that helps the scene or whatever grows, and everyone benefits in terms of having a close-knit community. And
yes,
I feel
absolutely.
Like it's like infectious. Like it just
I feel
it
like
kind of builds up upon everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has a role to play, and
yeah,
and in a way everything matters.
Connected. There's like, because any learning process, the learning curve has ups and downs, not like straight
up. Yeah.
So when you have your low moments, if you're not connected to the other people, so when you give up. But if you have connections and have like a feeling of being together, that's part of a greater thing. Then when you get on the low part, you feel like support to be able to get back and keep pushing to go up again. So that's huge.
And that happens a lot in the local scenes, right? Because people do feel like, oh my God, this is going nowhere. So maybe should I give up? But is the connections, right? Is everything that's already there, supporting and making sure that no, like there is a reason, like let's keep up, you know, like we can continue doing it.
I know we've been talking a lot about like the scene and everything, but I kind of wanted to focus a little bit on you guys, and I wanted to ask you guys some questions about you guys. Do you guys, is this like your full-time job, or do you guys have like another job?
So
Okay. I know it's a little personal.
Sad
but
answer. No, it's fine. It's just sad.
yeah, I used to be a full-time dance instructor in Brazil for the years I was there, like 16, 18 years I was doing that full-time. Then when I moved to the US, I started having like a day job. Nowadays I still have a day job. I was in a remote position before, now not anymore, so it makes it a little bit harder trying to transition back to remote type of occupation to be a bit more flexible with the traveling stuff.
Right.
But yeah, it's basically having two full-time jobs, because we do like a full-time job during the daytime, and I have like the full-time job at evening and weekends with dance. We definitely, but some of the hours that we spend dancing and doing things that are related to dance, being like organizing, advertising, creating content, training, learning, it's definitely more than 40 hours weekly. So it's definitely two full-time jobs that we have.
So that's for both of us. I do also have a full-time day job, and which I don't love, to be honest. So that's the downside.
No one is listening to that part.
Yeah, it's okay. Now they can't listen to it. They know I don't love it. But dancing has always been like a big passion, and it went definitely from just a side hustle to a full-time job.
And sorry, do you like your job, or is it kind of like just a means to an end kind of deal?
Well, I am kind of geek, you know, so I always love to, and the moment that I was fully devoted to dance, and I was always trying to find things on the organization aspect of dance to be able to build that other side of me, because I feel that I need to feed that side of me a lot, and like teaching is the thing that helps a lot. That so creating content for class and stuff helps thinking about it, but also like learning, you know, Excel things that I'm gonna use, or like how can I create a website for the Zouk in Nashville scene, or how can I make a flyer, you know, for an event. So learning all those other aspects were always like bringing me into what I do right now. It's not that I dislike, it's just I work with accounts receivable. The only thing that I don't like is having to go to the office, because I don't think it's needed. And, you know.
And it cuts the flow of our weekends because, for example, now we were supposed to be heading back home on Monday, but he had to like find a last minute flight to Sunday just so he's able to be in the office. So it kind of breaks a little bit of full having to be in the office. I am remote, but.
Right, but.
Yeah, so whoever employs him, please bring back our remote. We need him for the community. Yeah.
And jobs from.
Perfectly.
Oh, hi, I'm Mitch with remote position.
Just a friendly suggestion. Yeah.
Sorry, it was kind of like leading to my ultimate question, but like, so do you guys hope eventually to kind of be full-time, or what do you guys see for yourselves in 5 years? If that, I don't know if
are you hiring them? Why are you?
I know.
Love it.
I gave him my resume.
No, that was a good question.
I know, bring them to Phoenix real quick.
Elijah. Very honest, right now I am in a phase of my life in which I'm trying to figure things out. So I've thought a lot about, you know, my long term, my 5 years, 10 years, and I couldn't pinpoint like exactly where it is that that I want to be doing at that time. I'm not gonna lie, I love dancing a lot, so I don't know how possible it would be for my type of life to be living only off of dancing, right? Because events like this, it consumes the whole weekend, and as Gustavo mentioned, we have a lot of training to do, a lot of marketing to do. So, I mean, now I balance that with the whole other full-time job, so maybe it would have been better if I only had dance. But, you know, living off of art is not an easy thing. So I need to see, like, I'm already past 30, and I need to see how much more energy I'm willing to put into that to make it a reality. But, yeah, I'm in this phase of trying to figure everything out. I'm not going to say anything is possible or impossible, but who knows? Like, in the next couple of years, anything can change from water to wine in my life.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of the same as the only difference. Like I spent a good chunk of my life being a full-time dancer. So I was full-time doing like that for living, paying my bills and stuff. And because of that up and downs and like inconsistency that happens as an artist, it's a little bit hard. Like, we have bills, like have to pay the rent, have to pay things, have to have insurance, and have a lot of things that I have to do, that you have to make sure you make savings and stuff. And then when a pandemic hit, I was so devastated about that emotionally, because I was putting myself in the shoes of people that were still full-time dancers and nothing happening, and they not able to work because they're not able to teach class, they're not able to travel, they're not able to do anything for a while, and trying to figure out how to do some remote things, but it's not the same, like online classes and, so many, like, I even paid for some online course that it was not even like, oh, I want to take it, but I want to help those artists that are full-time dancers right now, that different than me, that have a job, an occupation that can keep up with my life, So those things made me think a lot of, do I really want to go back to that scenario where I could be in a very uncomfortable situation, being past 30, because I'm 35 now, past that point, I'm like, I don't know. And like, maybe in the next 3-4 years, I want to actually, get to have a family and settle a little bit more, still travel, still doing dance, but having other expectations for life, So I don't know how much would be feasible to put those two things together and make the equation work. So yeah, it's a, like Ayane said, it's not a hard yes or no. It's up in the air, but my ideal scenario as of today is having a full-time remote position that can help me, or maybe starting investing in something that I can make profit, make money without having to actually be working all the 40 hours weekly, and spending more time with dance to be able to fulfill my passion and I think it's like my call, like when I get into classroom, I feel that that's what I am made for. That's where I feel that's like my natural habitat, like where I need to be and be able to add to the table, because that's where I feel full myself,
Yeah, see, he does it so well. Like, we had 50 people in that tiny little room. No, like, we couldn't have everybody on the wooden dance floor.
I wasn't.
There was no space. We're trying to turn.
I know.
No space. That was like, guys, just here we go. Easy. Let's just do it. Definitely a natural.
I've had those conversations before because I was curious about a lot of artists or people really invested in the scene, and it seems that whether they're full-time or not, it seems like the main similarity is everyone has a really big passion for dance, and I see most people who make it work, they cultivate their lives around dance. Like, not necessarily, I'm just going to be an instructor full-time, but like, I'll do everything else outside of my responsibilities about family, kids, or career, then that'll help like sustain my passion.
Yeah.
Instead of, I'm going to make my passion my job. Then, because it goes for any passion, really. If it doesn't work out, if you become super famous and popular and you can make a bunch of money, then fine. But most people I see, it's like they subsidize it, right, with their income.
Yeah.
Like, it's a sacrifice in some way to do what they do because they love it. And I see that. I think the way you two are doing it is how a lot of people are doing, where, I meet so many real estate agents or financial analysts or engineers, like they spend their time and money to cultivate their more passionate, more creative side. And that way, I think when you rely on dance to feed you, I think it gives that pressure where you're probably just thinking about money. You're like, all right, let me just try to book all the privates. Like, it kind of kills the passion in a way, right? Yeah. So I think wherever you're at in life, I think it seems like the right.
It's balance.
Yeah, it's a good balance. Yeah.
Just find the right balance, because I was like, so when you find the right balance, then it's perfect. I'm right now at the phase of trying to figure out the right balance. Okay. Once it balance out, I think I'm gonna be at the stage that I want actually to be at.
Right. Yeah. And I guess for me being a student, I would love to be a student for the rest of my life. But then I realized, I need to work and pay bills too. Ideally, if you love something, you just do it all the time. Like, it'd be nice if we just had socials like forever,
Nice,
right?
yes,
Ongoing.
Yeah, and then a
Can we
DJ
just-
that just never takes a break.
Can we
Be
just make
more
that
there.
movement?
But realistically, yeah, I think the limitation of time and energy and responsibilities, I think people who go to these events, they appreciate way more than, I'm not saying local classes don't matter. I'm just saying people who spend the money to go here, they're not here to.
They're looking forward to
They're looking forward to be there and being open to someone instructing them and teaching them.
Yeah, and also like for the things that have like the regular class available, because sometimes they don't have.
Yeah.
They have to go to
Sure,
for those
yeah.
big events. But when they have, like, it's really important to keep going, because that's what one helps that instructor that's local based there feeling that his work is worth it, and he can be there and can be like rely on like, yes, they supporting me as instructor, and also to develop your dance, because it's like conversation. Like if you learn a language, you do once a week, it's one thing, but if you keep practicing more, you get more fluent on that. Same thing with dance, you get more fluent with your dance skills if you have like, you feed that like more regularly.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like for those who have access to a local dance scene, is definitely the best to keep going there, because not only like you get better on your communication, but the instructor already knows you, right? And so they already know where you started, they know where you are, and they know where you can go. So it's easier for them to like help you improve your own dance. And when you go to a festival as an attendee, it's like that one time, right? It's that one day, it's that 1 hour, it's that one single class. And you probably will learn like a new pattern, or you learn some piece of technique that you didn't know, or maybe you did know, but you learn from somebody else who might teach that in a different way. But it's not like it's the whole picture, right? It's just a part of it. So if you already have like a good understanding, some good techniques, some good movements, you've been doing that for a while, you go to a festival, you get like a supplement, you get some extra. So it's like you're already learning a new language, but then you start doing a language for business, or a language for like, magical terms. But but the local scene is where you really get like the structure. So it's really bad when you don't have that. Many states don't have their local scene, or something consistent. So people do have to travel and do the best that they can, take private lessons and things like that. But if they do have, it's ideal to just do, or even do that and do both. I mean, obviously, you travel and you meet new people, you get new dances, new experiences. So
That's ideal. Balance again.
balance, exactly. That's the perfect scenarios.
It's gonna be the name of the podcast, balance. Yeah, it's hard. I think just because you guys are instructors. Obviously, you guys have much more responsibilities. But even for me, like, because I'm a student, like I'm in college right now, and then I'm still working, and then I'm still trying to like learn as much as I can in bachata, salsa. And it's hard just to kind of keep everything informed, or to kind of keep everything organized, and then still try to get like 8 hours of sleep. And it's like, that's the other biggest things that I noticed. Yeah. And it's like literally like, it's like if I want to cut something, cool, like I get more sleep. But if like I really want to like take full advantage of this, like,
sacrifice that.
yeah.
I got you.
I guess sorry, that was kind of another question I just thought about. What do you guys do to not burn out all the time? Because I know you guys are doing this, right? You guys are staying up. I don't know how late you guys go to social dancing, but like if you guys stay up till 5, right? And all of a sudden you have to go to your work, or you go to work, and now you have to readjust your times, your schedule, right? So what kind of things do you guys do, and what kind of things do you guys notice other people doing that like helps them? Yeah. Or if you guys don't have it,
They're like, we don't know.
Yes, like right now, that's the main struggle of my life, because of the fact of having to be in the office. Like, for example, I'll fly, I get my flight here this time, good, I'll get home midnight because of the time zone also, And then once I get midnight at home, I have like my sleep time to go the next day to the office. But next week I go to New York, and I'm flying back early in the morning. My flight's like 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. and get to Miami like 9, 8 and go straight to the office. So like I sleep the 2-3 hours that I have on the plane in order to try to keep up with that. And it's been it's been a big no. This is why also I'm like pursuing a remote position, because I was able to get a better balance with that scenario, because I was like, okay, I can stay one more day at this scene, so I work from here tomorrow. So I sleep and then I wake up and I work, and then after work I can fly back home, and it's easier. But right now it's being like a very challenging situation, and that's what I'm looking for. Balance.
The balance.
Goddamn. Bringing the balance. Yeah, for real, guys. It's crazy. So it's funny, like people a few years ago, people used to say that I was crazy, that like my energy was never ending, that I was plugged on the wall, like on 220 volts. And they were always, making that joke with me because for real, like I would pop everywhere, just
the
like
land of the social,
doing things, screaming, dancing, and like I would stay until the end, and I'm happy the next morning, like everything. Like they're like, when do you sleep? I'm like, I don't care. I'll sleep when I die. I had that type of mindset. But, time has arrived for myself as well. And even like having the remote job is still not the best, right? Because it comes Friday. Sometimes I have to travel on Friday or on Thursday. And I'm busy from the week. So it's rushing for packing. Then we get to the event and we have a class. And then after is the social, so you're ready and you want to dance with everybody. Like I really want to dance with everybody. That's for real. I want to dance with everybody. Sometimes I can dance with everybody. Sometimes I'm not able to. Sometimes I stay until the end of the social trying to dance with everybody. And then the next day I'm like, I really wanted to take a workshop as well. But you know what? And then wake up at 12. So sometimes I don't have that privilege. Sometimes I have like the 11 a.m. class or the 10 a.m. class.
Or 8:30 in the morning.
Or 8:30.
That rehearsal.
Like today.
Yeah.
So if I stay all the way, like we got here, we flew on Friday in the morning. We arrived, already taught a class. Then there was social in the evening. So if I stay all the way until the end and then get up for the tech rehearsal and then we have another class and private lessons and performance and social dancing. He's like, where is the time? Exactly. The time really goes away. So in general, on the weekends, we try to I do my best to just take a nap wherever I can. And I'm very lucky that I'm easy, to sleep. So I can sleep anywhere. If you guys stop talking and I just get comfortable here, I could take a nap.
But I had pictures.
Stop.
Send them over.
But now health is... No, but for real, now health has become a priority because I do feel it. The least sleep I have, the more I feel tired. Sure. So I do feel like, yesterday my eyes were burning because I hadn't had sleep and, all of that packed up on top of the other.
Yeah.
So,
learning to listen to your body is very important. Like that.
It is really important.
Outside of the scheduling of things is also that learning oh, can I push a little bit more, or should I not push now and take a break? Yeah. Because also for attendees, I see that, especially for first-time Congress attendees, they try to take everything. So they want to take all the hours of class and all the hours of social, and the next day they crash. So
that was us yesterday.
Find the balance.
Yeah. No, and it's true because
it is rough.
I mean, I flew in Friday afternoon, and it's but then the day before that, I was packing and I still had to work in the morning on Friday. So I did end up sleeping. The last time I slept was from Wednesday going into Thursday.
Yes.
And then Thursday to Friday, I didn't get any sleep.
Same.
I packed, and then all of a sudden, it's we're here, and it's I'm trying to social dance, but I stopped for a second. I'm just I want to go to bed. And it's it's one of those things that I feel it's just not sustainable. It's like this. I think it's one of those things because we're so caught up in the glamour of oh my God, social dancing. Oh my God, this famous artist is here, and we get caught up in that it's we forget to mention this life is not gonna last forever. It's not sustainable, and you can do it for a couple months, but then
If I can make a little promo.
That's another shout out.
There is an event that's happening in November that we're hired to teach called Divergence. It's a mini festival, and their main focus is on to find that balance. So basically, they were doing socials that are not all the way to 6 in the morning. So the socials are earlier in the day, the same amount of hours in a regular festival, but ends at 11 p.m. midnight max. So you still have your 8 hours of sleep. You still have a lot of amount of learning
the day.
time, and you have the good amount of social for training and we have a sleep time. So it's a very new concept. It's the first time I've been in an event like that, and I'm very excited about it.
Is there first edition as well?
And I hope it goes
She's
well.
excited for the sleep, not the event.
I mean, it has big influence. It has a big influence.
I hope it goes up because, that could be also a changing curve.
Yeah.
A lot of events start to think more about how we can, provide better balance.
Yeah, that's happening in Austin, and it's gonna be their first edition. So we're really like trying to be supportive and bring people in, because like I swear to you guys, I thought I would survive like that forever. I'm like, why are you guys tired? It's 4 a.m. Let's go 1 more hour. And now I need to be like, okay, you know what? It's 3. I guess time for me to go, and it's hard. Because I want to be there, like mentally, I want to be there and I want to enjoy everything. Right. But I know that I'm feeling the burden, and the next day is going to be harder. Yeah. So, I mean, I have lived the experience. And even if myself, if I got to this point in which I'm like, I need to sleep, I can only imagine the other people who was doing this before. So we really are supporting this event, and I'm really looking forward to some changes after that. I think they are gonna like
history.
Yeah, I think it will be an opportunity to make change, and I mean that can be much more sustainable moving forward, right? If we don't have to spend the whole weekend awake, then I don't have to compromise my Monday at work. So that would be nice.
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
I know you went deep into like the Congress life and everything, but I'm just curious, as instructors and then performing and doing a lot of dance-related activities, but does that ever take away from just
the joy?
Just dancing, just like living the life you are now, like compared to like when you were not necessarily a student, but you still have that joy of like, okay, I'm just gonna ask this person to dance, and you're like, do you still worry about like everything else in life, and because your responsibilities are way more than, like, let's be honest, like a typical social dancer that just has a regular day job and just wants to practice and get better.
To kind of add on that, but like, do you guys feel like every time you guys have to dance with somebody, you guys feel like you guys have to perform for them?
No.
Yeah, they're like, oh my God, like I'm your biggest fan. Man, you look good.
No. I'll tell you that.
That's a great question.
Yeah. For me personally, when I feel more the pressure when I'm asked to dance with a pro than when I'm dancing with a student. Because I'm giving to my student the best I can to make that moment good for both of us. So I'm trying to find the comfort zone and how to be playful and how to lead that moment with them. Sometimes I feel with some instructors that feeling that, I want to look good to the camera, because it's very common that when instructors start dancing together,
it's like,
that's
the camera. There's a light behind me.
that uncomfortable look.
Yes. And then you go from like, I'm here to like, okay,
My form has to be perfect.
Yes. Oh, no. So that's one thing. But about having the passion, it's also about listening to your body, like learning when it's time to say, I'm done for today, and respect that, and say, hey, I need to have a break. I need to go to your room earlier today, and it's all fine. You can deliver. I think it's better to deliver a little bit less, but the best what you can, than try to deliver all the time and deliver not the best what you can. That's been the most for me lately, trying to understand that balance, because my feeling was that I was not able to deliver what I'm able to on a lot of areas of my life.
Right.
So I'm like now trying to find a better balance in a way that I can deliver better, deliver the best. So on last time, finding what could be ideal, so I can still have the joy every single time I'm dancing. I can have like that feeling of, let's do it. Yeah.
Very interesting. So Nadia, as you're talking, I'm here just thinking, because we both had very different backgrounds, right? Gustavo has been teaching his whole life. His first job in life was dance.
Yeah.
And for me, like, I've been through everything. I've been through several different styles of dance, but it was always like on and off. So I did for a while, did for a few years, stopped, went back and did again, did a different style and something's parallel, and then, took a break. So I was always involved in the dance, but also always like a little apart from it. And it wasn't up until I moved to the US and I felt kind of like homesick that it was for real. I was like, Brazil culture community, right? Because it was, at first, like I moved in 2016 and everything was new. It was amazing. I loved it. Like I was in Atlanta, the weather changed, you know, every season, something that I had never felt in Brazil. And it was so clean. It was like people were polite. So I loved it at first, and all the experiences, the possibilities, blah, blah, blah. Time passed by, and then I was like, I miss something. And, you know, I'm like, where is my family? I don't have family here. Like, so where is my connection? Where is my close contacts and all of that? And eventually I, you know, stumbled upon Zouk and started getting together with that community. And I was like, this is it. Like, this is what I was missing. So the fast forward, you know, I started teaching Zouk, and I got myself thinking those thoughts. I'm like, so all those people that I look up on, like, do they feel like they are being responsible? They have to dance with me, or they have to dance with someone else? Do they feel like this is an obligation? I then started thinking that to myself, like, why am I doing this? You know, like, why am I teaching? Why do I go to the social? So do I have to dance with everybody? Like, do I want to dance? Like, because each experience is different, right? Like, each person you dance with is different. Sometimes you feel better. Sometimes you don't feel as good. So I navigated through a lot of that just in a short period of time, making that, you know, that passion also a profession. So I just find myself thinking all those thoughts. And I feel like what was the most helpful for me was to remember, like, what it meant, you know, like, why was I doing that? So I just freaking love it. Like, I can't stop myself from dancing, you know. So if I'm doing nothing, music start playing, then I'm just, you know, like, I can't stop. I can't hold back. So if I'm at home and I'm upset, or if I'm frustrated, or if I have to work, or if I have to clean, I play music, and then I go sweeping and I go packing, you know. Everything for me is dance related. So I just do that because I love. And with each person is something new that I can experience. So I try to get out of my head, you know, as best I can, but it definitely feels still more challenging dancing with somebody who is a professional than dancing with somebody who is a student. You know, I feel like I am more comfortable because I can offer them more, you know, than you know, like I can.
The pressure.
Yes, I can. It's like, okay, I can give more, you know, I can be more present, more, you know, I can fulfill more whatever we need. And as opposite as dancing with another instructor, in which I feel like, oh, is this gonna be more of a performance? Is this gonna be more of a challenge? You know, or it's great dancing with other instructors when we are all tired, because then we're just like, oh,
You don't
we're
care.
just gonna, we're just gonna throw it. And then it flows and it's natural, like there's no expectation, right? When you put expectations first before the dance, then is where things get a little messy, because I'm like, I'm gonna dance with Gustavo because I expect that he's going to do with me what he just did with somebody else. And then I am not somebody else, and my body is totally different. And I dance with Gustavo, and I'm like, he didn't do to me what he did to her, right? So then I start comparing, then everything else comes into play. So I feel like for me, it's just thinking of what it means is really, like, my passion is really something that I love doing and I can't stop, and not having expectations. Like, I'm gonna dance with you, whatever, like, whether you are a beginner, whether you're a pro. If you're a pro, I'll try my best to be very, like, open and not, you know, stressed out. But if it's anybody else that I'm friends with or I am not, I'll just be like, it is what it is. If it's a, you know, simple dance, it's fine. As long as I'm not hurt, you know, as long as you don't try to break my neck, everything is fine. So it can be small, it can be slow, it can be big, it can be fast, it can be anything. And I'm still going to try to be as present as I can, you know, and just have fun in that moment. So I think, like, for me, that's what it is. Like, I try to enjoy each dance, each music, you know, each sound with each person as if it was the last one. You know, just really live that.
And I love what you said about, like, the why, because one book that I love, it's like everything starts with the why, you know, and that's like how I think we should, like, try to live our lives and give a meaning for it. It's like not look too much or before looking for what or how, but first why. You know, why are we doing this? Why I want this? Why, you know, why it should be always the first question.
Yeah. And sometimes I feel like in the journey, you switch a little bit your reasons, and that's kind of where we lose track. There was a moment in which I was dancing for another reason, and I was getting frustrated because I was like, it's not happening, it's not working. I had a different motivation, and then I was like, screw that. That's not it, right? Like, forget about it and go back to the principle. And then I was like, okay, I can continue doing this myself, and it doesn't matter anything else, right? So it's good to sometimes just check with you again, reset, and be like, am I still going the right, path?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think we can cut you guys. I know you guys got to get somewhere. You guys have performances today, so
definitely, yeah. But we did like roughly over an hour, a little bit over. But no, it's absolutely amazing. I'll just say that one, it was really good to have met you. But I always ask this when I don't have questions. But is there anything you'd like to see from maybe let's just say not the dance community, but maybe the Zouk scene that you'd like to see more of, or are you happy with the progression, what you're seeing with the changes? Any suggestions on what would make it look better?
She always sends it to me.
Right.
The tough ones I
doing
see.
that in the beginning, huh? So I'm just waiting
I
for the first
gotcha.
card.
Gotcha.
Said nothing but like positive things. So.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, is there anything you'd like to see more of that you think, this would make the scene just a little bit better,
For me,
easier?
yeah. For me, it's like, of course, we're growing, so we're getting to a better place in that sense. But I think that always having opportunity to get in touch with the roots and what the cultural represents in general, not just the dance technique, is very important. It's like makes me feel more at home, makes more sense for me. So when I go to events that they have, for example, Brazilian food, it's something that's like, it's little, but it adds to like you feeling like the flavor of them. Because for me, I like sensorial things. So smell, food, taste, like all that makes to the memory, adds to that. And of course, not only that, but what are the dances that we have in Brazil that also make Zouk be what it is? So when I have opportunity to showcase some of samba de gafieira, of some Brazilian bolero or some forró, you add more of that feeling that, hey, this is how Brazilian dancers, most of the big pro names, they started dancing. This is where they were, that's what they did, and that's why I think it's important to go that route. So if one thing to add, and I think it's slowly getting there, is to add more of that cultural aspect of learning more of the culture of Brazil, learning more of few words in Brazilian Portuguese,
Right.
or like drinks or food or other dances as well. I think it's a huge thing that would make me feel happier.
Right. So historical and cultural context definitely matters, because it didn't come from thin air, and you just learn this dance from the Congress.
Download.
Yeah, it was just from Denver.
It was a multiverse.
Right, yeah. So that's a good answer.
Just adding on that, so I think definitely, like, for us, it feels more as a culture than just a dance.
Right.
So I feel like that's why we really would love for other people to get more engaged, because there is a reason why we move our hips the way we do. There is a reason why we hug the way we do. And like the more you get to understand where those things started, the more it makes sense and the better your dance becomes as well. But also, if there was something that I could maybe ask the students is to lower their inner pressure as well. Because I feel like social media has made it so possible, like so.
Done in 30 seconds.
Yeah. Like you get to see everything, and then you look at some people out there just doing, all the crazy, the hardest type of movements, and then you look at Zouk and you think that that's what it is only, and then you go to your first class and you want to learn toalha, or like, which is a
Head
difficult
motion,
movement, and you want to learn head motion only, so you barely know the basic steps. And I feel like it would be perfect, the perfect role is people could be comfortable with the minimum, like learn your basics and learn them well and feel comfortable with them and start dancing with that, and, and be fine with it, like, and understand that the process is the process, and yours is going to be different from everybody else's, right? So take your time in that curve and just enjoy as you go. There will be a moment that's going to be time for you to start like doing some more challenging things. And like it's always like that, you know, it already starts difficult. So if you know nothing, to do a basic step is already difficult. Then, you know, but take your time, just enjoy the process, because it is a dance that looks and feels difficult if you try to like do the correct type of technique. So it takes time, you know, to get to what you see in the videos today. So I would say that, you know, like for us instructors to reinforce that the basics are good and they are fun as they are, and for the students to just be fine with taking their time, especially if it is something that they want to continue doing for their life as a hobby, right? Like if you're trying to do like a quick 90-day intensive just for some reason, then fine, like throw yourself in there. But if you want to continue doing like, yeah, I'm going to dance until I'm 60, 80, 70, you know.
Yeah, no need for the pressure.
No need to rush. Every day is just another day, and you
celebrate each milestone.
Yeah, enjoy.
Don't tell that to my dance instructor. Listen, I'm gonna do this for a while. It's okay if I don't get it.
No, push yourself. It's not like taking it easy, you know. but just understand that things take time. It's not like magic, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. And of course, if you can do some Brazilian samba, I mean, bruh. If you could just have maybe
First
more
bra that she
options
brought
of Brazilian
Like some
dances
pão
in
de
the festivals.
queijo. I think pão de queijo in every festival should be mandatory.
Pão de queijo and samba de gafieira in every festival. I vote for that.
Because like a cheese ball that you have in Brazil, it's like
The
phenomenal.
little cheese bread is like fluffy, but it's crunchy on the outside.
Now I got Google that.
I watched the last seconds. I'm like, what the? Write that down. Write that down.
Add the pão de queijo picture right here.
Yeah, we'll edit that. We'll blow it up, and then I'll show up at your performance, like with like.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys having a
much
conversation
for
with
your
us.
time. This is amazing.
Awesome.
Appreciate you.
Love the opportunity. If we could, definitely would talk longer.
Yeah, I know. As soon as you guys started
This won't be
talking,
the last time, right?
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And if
for
you
sure.
guys come to Miami, hit us up. We're there. Like there's classes all the time, socials all the
So
time.
yeah, definitely plug your socials.
Oh yeah, that's true. You forgot about
Yeah,
that.
shout
Socials,
yourself
what you
out,
guys,
and
yeah.
We'll link it in the
In the
description.
I guess it's better written.
Yeah,
Yeah,
menina enrolada.
If you're Brazilian, you understand. Menina enrolada, but otherwise, they will put in the caption.
Yeah, and Gustavo in dance. So Gustavo without O in dance. Gustavo in dance. Yeah.
And Zouk in Miami.
Zouk and Ayane Miami. Here you are.
On Instagram, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you guys are which channels can find you? Like are on YouTube, Spotify?
Yeah. Salseros is on Spotify, YouTube, and
Instagram.
Well, yeah, Instagram. Or like the podcast itself is on YouTube and Spotify. I think there's one more, but I can't remember it. But
Mainly YouTube.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
mainly YouTube. Yeah. But we're growing. We're trying to get in.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're just trying
Sign
to
into
get.
the channel.
Let's
You
go.
know, hit the like.
Thank you.
Yeah, we never say that.
never
too.
say that either.
We don't even ask people to like watch our videos.
Social media guy.
Yeah, amazing.